Good morning, good evening, good day, good night, wherever you are in the world. I am Tim, back once again for the Speed Force Racing GP2 series for the United States Grand Prix. My home race, well, technically Miami would be my home race. It's the closest one to where I live, but anyway, this is the other United States race, and with me is, of course, my co-commentator. He's joined me a few times this season. He's back again. Tom, how are you doing?
Very good, mate. Very good. How are you?
Oh, I'm fine, and I'm starting to get a little bit of deja vu though here, Tom, because I
I know.
almost feel like I just saw a race here this past weekend. I'm not for sure though. I think Max Verstappen won it.
Yeah, I think he did. Then again, shocker, considering that the Red Bull breached the budget cap. But yeah,
But in other
can't go
news
into it
though,
any further.
Sebastian Vettel getting points, my boy,
No,
in
but
his final year.
no, so happy for the bloke, and he had a great battle with the K-Mag as well.
Oh yeah, I mean, in Vettel, he was on fire. I mean, I didn't get to watch most of the race, but I was able to tune into the end, and I saw Vettel running in the top 10, and I'm just like, come on, my guy, get in there, and he was able to, and I'm happy for him because obviously I'm a
Hmm.
Vettel fan, and it's unfortunate he's retiring, but
Oh, it is.
at least he's able to go out with some small successes.
Absolutely, mate. Like, it's if you're in a midfield car, or possibly worse, the, or just in a car that cannot fight for wins altogether, the best thing you can do is just chase those small wins. That's all you can do.
Absolutely, I mean, because a lot of times, and maybe we're getting a little bit philosophical here, Tom. We're waiting for these drivers to come out on the track, but all the same, we're getting a little bit philosophical to where it's that can
Oh,
be
there's an
applied.
Alpine heading out.
Yeah, that can be applied to life, though. It's like we always
Hmm.
have our mindset on the big picture, but sometimes it's good to just focus on those small successes that help build our overall successes. I've been able to talk to some people and getting a little bit of advice here and there, so I'm trying to share the wealth, I guess.
Good man.
As Mansell is out on track, I think he was the first driver to
Oh,
blink, so we'll
no.
see how Mansell
No,
is.
he's not. It's Calvin.
Oh, Calvin. Okay, so we'll take a look at Calvin. Appropriate, though, that Calvin would be the first out on track for this race, considering that he drives a Haas, and this is the United States Grand Prix. And, it
Oh,
was a
yes.
beautiful livery, by the way, that Haas brought to their home Grand Prix this past weekend. It was fantastic to see. And,
Oh, it
you know,
was.
I'm just going to throw it out there. It's probably not going to happen, but I am all for Italian Jesus getting himself another chance.
Definitely, mate. Definitely.
I mean, as a fellow individual with long hair, I just want a little bit of representation on the grid.
I'm all for it, mate.
Calvin, come on, my guy. Let's start your lap, so that pretty much so I don't have to think about any more time killer phrases, I guess. But I don't know, it's fun though, honestly, because
Oh, definitely.
to have a co-commentator, because we can just banter a little bit during qualifying, have a
Yeah,
little bit of fun
definitely.
before the race starts, because obviously we're getting down to the end of the season, Tom, and
Oh,
the
we
championship
are.
battle,
Like,
it's not super close, but
hmm.
all the same, Rage Hunter, he is not safe up there in the top spot.
Oh, definitely. Like, I wouldn't say, like, whilst we are heading towards the latter stages, I think, whilst it's not where in a stage where it's crucial, I think it's probably the business stage. Like, at the end of I think we're more at the end of the halfway point of the season for me. But how the rest of the season in all four divisions is going to play out is anyone's guess.
Yeah, and actually taking a look at the driver's standings, Rage Hunter, of course, top spot with 166 points. That is following two consecutive second-place finishes in Japan and Azerbaijan. MDJ, very strong early in the season, winning two of the first three races. He is in second with 141 points. So, just Yeah, just over a race behind, I guess we can say technically. And then Calvin in P3 with 110 points. Of course, that's Rage Hunter's teammate. And then Mansell in 4th place with 101 points. And then the Slayer with 82 points in P5. So, I'm seeing mathematically there's still a lot of drivers in contention, but, we're going to, like you said, we're at the business end, so we're really going to see who's going to be those key players at the end of the season. And I'm kind of zeroing in on that top 3 or 4. Rage Hunter and MDJ especially. Calvin maybe could make a late season charge, but, that is almost a 60-point gap, as Calvin does go quickest, but now Mansell going quickest, a 134.849. But, with that being about a 60-point gap or so, from Calvin all the way to his teammate of Rage Hunter, that is not insurmountable. It's just a huge ladder to climb.
Oh, it is. Oh, it is, mate. I mean, mind you, 2nd and 3rd were very close in the opening laps.
Now, of course, turning to the constructors, as we're starting to get some lap times on the board, and we turn to Matty on his flying lap. Haas, of course, is leading the constructor standings by a wide margin.
Oh, Capricorn's out.
Oh, and what happened there? Did you see?
She must have lost it in the S's.
Unfortunate. So a 136.0 will be the best lap time for them. Not convinced that is going to get them any better than P18 here, as Matty goes to P9, a 135.5.
Bless you.
Oh, I thought I muted the mic. My goodness. Well, I tried to mute the mic, but it just did not.
It's all right, mate. It happens.
Yeah, it kind of snuck up on me there, so I'm like, okay, just let me get this lap time out, and then I'm gonna mute the mic, sneeze. No one will ever know. It'll just be my little secret. And I just sneeze, in front of the whole world. So I don't know what was it. What was it? An old adage? You're supposed to throw salt over your shoulder or something. I don't know. There was some weird saying I think years ago, but it doesn't matter.
No. An American advert or an advert that advertised in the UK as well.
I don't know. It's I would say it's one of those old wives' tales if you've ever heard that saying, but I think it even predates that.
Interesting.
So anyway, back on topic, Xander in the McLaren, just on his flying lap now. A few drivers out there who seem to have actually invalidated. KXI and Adams may have invalidated their lap, as they've got 1 lap on their tires, but no time on the board. So we'll see what happens with them. Of course, plenty of time to set a lap time. Just over 11 minutes remaining in this session.
Definitely, mate.
MDJ, though, look at that, a 134.0. Actually, maybe I'm dropping the ball a little bit here. Just noticed that he is running a fast time today. So, like we said, MDJ 2nd in points, 25, if my math is correct, behind Rage Hunter coming into this race.
Ooh, so Hunter's going slowly.
Oh, yeah, he is. So what's happened there?
Don't know.
He's in 1st gear, 2nd. I mean, not sure what's going on. I mean, obviously a very, very slow lap. So, Sander, not what he's looking for there. Going to go ahead and take a look at Matty Siski. Matty Siski in the Alpine here on his flying lap.
We have 2 Matties now.
Yeah, 2 Matties. So, that's going to be a little bit weird. So, maybe I'm just going to have to call him Siski. So we got Matty in the Ferrari and then Siski in the Alpine. That way we can keep the 2 drivers apart.
I do prefer the Renault, though. I do prefer Renault. I'm not gonna lie.
Renault over Alpine?
Yeah.
I do kind of like the colors, though. I know a lot of people don't like the pink that BWT brings to these cars, but I actually do like it. I think it goes very well with the blue. That being said, I'm noticing that they have a nice balance on there. I'm sorry. I love liveries and paint schemes and stuff. Me and a friend of mine, we love looking at NASCAR paint schemes, whether they're new or old. So it's fun. But Matty about to complete his first flying lap, or Siski rather, in the Alpine, since we have 2 Matties now. So out of the final corner, let's see what lap time he's going to lay down. Wow, P5, 134.6.
Getting in and amongst it. Very good lap from Siski.
Jamie 99 now in the McLaren. That's that beautiful new McLaren livery, too.
Not the first time they've updated a livery, though. They've had a different livery throughout the year, because last year they had the iconic Golf livery.
And that one was really beautiful. And didn't they say that actually that was their original inspiration behind their original livery from this year, to where they saw the fan feedback and they were like, you know what, we're gonna do something a little bit close to that. I don't remember the article. That has been months. That was around the beginning of the season, so I've definitely slipped since then. But Jamie 99 about to go. He's not going to complete his lap.
He's lost it. Don't know how that happened. As he was in a corner where you could normally go full throttle. It's just
fantastic 360 though. Shades of Dale Earnhardt from Darlington in the late 90s.
Oh yes.
So Dye 36 in the Ferrari. He is on a flying lap. We'll see what he's able to do. MDJ still holding on to that top spot. Janeji in second with a 134.4. Then Cassidy in third. Luke Bailey fourth. Matty Siski in fifth. Mansell sixth. Calvin Racing in seventh. I'm just in time in eighth. The Slayer in ninth. Matty in 10th. And Rage Hunter down there in P13. But of course, as you can see, he does not have a time yet on the board. But we will go ahead and take a look at Rage Hunter, who is about to complete his first flying lap. And let's see what he has compared to MDJ.
True. Oh, Rage Hunter coming across the line.
P9 on 135.538. Now we'll go back to the Ferrari of Dye.
10 thousandths off his teammate. 10 hundredths or thousandths off his teammate as well.
But if you look, the times are incredibly close.
Just in time.
Oh, what happened down just in time?
Yeah. I was correcting myself. It wasn't Calvin that he was 10 hundredths up behind. It was just in time in the Mercedes.
Oh, I see. Yeah, and Calvin up there actually, was up there. Now he's a little bit further up there with a 133.882. So I was going to say save for the gap between first and second, but now we're going to say save for the gap between first, second, and third. But from fourth on back, because Dye just went to second with a 134.0. Wow. Notice that the times are really only separated by about 0.2 of a second or so.
Definitely, mate.
So
definitely.
very close times, and I know that that's really what we've become accustomed to here in the GP2 series, as now MDJ goes to the pole once more.
Wow, what a lap from MDJ.
So let's take a look at I'm Just in Time in the Mercedes. 135.5 is his best time so far.
And with he's got a broken front wing, so he is going to have to dart his way to the pits.
So Matty actually spins, so he was on a flying lap. Not going to be able to complete that one.
Lines are tired.
So taking a look at Adams now in the Red Bull. We'll see what he can do. He has not been able to get a flying lap in yet.
I think he was just starting his lap.
So Adams now in the second, or is this the third sector? I'm sorry, I'm having a little bit of trouble seeing my map. Actually, he's in the first sector.
Yeah.
I will explain though. I actually got a pop filter for the microphone, but I've been monkeying with it, trying to figure out the best location to where it's not blocking my view of the screen. So that's kind of my issue back here. But once I figure out my first world problems, then we'll be okay.
It will, mate.
So 135.569 for the Slayer as we're watching him on a flying lap. It looks like there's a tire in the middle of the racetrack, so good thing this is a virtual world. But the Slayer actually invalidating his lap, so he will not get the time he's looking for this time around. MDJ, Calvin, and Dye, your top three still at the moment. We'll take a look now at Jamie 99 once again, who has also invalidated his lap. Sander, who had a really bad lap on his first attempt, going for a second attempt, and he's at the end of the longest straightaway down this race course. And Tom, we're going to see a lot of overtakes going into this corner. Of course, we saw a great battle this past weekend between Max Verstappen and Lewis Hamilton, throughout the whole racetrack, but especially this sector.
Oh, definitely, mate. Definitely.
Yeah, I saw that too. Very loose.
Oh, yeah. Must have been struggling the rear end.
Oh, and he goes wide. That is not an invalidation, surprisingly. Probably scrubbed off some time, though.
Yeah. Yeah, he has.
And Sander, yeah, something wrong with Sander there, so not going to complete his lap. As I think it was Adams that might have actually spun out of the final corner. You saw the Red Bull. So the Slayer looks like he's completed his lap, but he did invalidate, so not what he's looking for. Let's take a look at the Alpine of Siski once more.
Good old Siski.
So we got it up to P5 earlier. We'll see what he can do on his second run. Waiting to see how long we have left in the qualifying session. I'm going to theorize this could be his final flying lap, or actually he slowed down. So he will have another opportunity for another flying lap, but I think he's going slow to try to conserve his tires and then go for the lap.
I actually think you're onto something, I think.
Well, I mean, if you notice, he let another car by, so, maybe he just wasn't happy with his lap. As you can see, he is not invalidated, but something's telling me that he's just not happy with the lap, so he's decided to abandon it and then go again.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So, meanwhile, Mansell, which actually might have been the car that he let by, invalidates out of the final corner.
No.
Could have been a good lap for him. It would have been a 134.9, which would have still been slower than his best lap, but an invalidation all the same is not going to matter. So now Siski, I'm assuming, going to be taking his final flying lap as he goes to the uphill turn 1. Oh, and he already invalidates, so Siski...
no.
He's got time to go for another lap, but at this point he's just using up those tires, and we don't have the regulation anymore to where we have to start on
Just
your
see that, Tim. He's cutting across the track.
Oh my goodness, yeah, I am seeing that. Not sure how the league admins are going to feel about that. Of course,
no.
I'm not a league admin or a steward, so I can't say either way.
No.
But,
our opinions on
that
are pretty invalid around here.
Yeah. I will say, though, I'm going to give him 10 points for off-roading. I mean, we'll give him that much. Look, this is America. You are in Texas.
Dear.
You cannot come to this state without going mudding.
Bring a 4x4 all along the way, and you're sorted.
I mean, I know that Formula One cars traditionally are not used for mudding purposes, but sometimes you just have to make do with what you got. So maybe that's what he was trying to do. Anyway, Jamie99 invalidating his lap, so not gonna have a good lap this time around.
P7 though.
So Janeji on an out lap, Luke Bailey also on an out lap, Aston Martin teammates. MDJ, Calvin, Dye, a lot of drivers on their out lap. Rage Hunter as well. I'm just in time on a flying lap, so we'll take a look at him. Oh, and Siski has retired from the session, so...
Ouch.
134.6 is going to be his best time.
Cassidy's
Cassidy
out.
Retired. Now, is that a record, or was that a retirement in the pits?
No, it's in the pits.
Okay. And KXI is retired as well.
Lost it in the S's. Well, coming out of the S's anyway.
All right, so Rage Hunter entering the third and final sector here in just a moment. Going to be starting his final flying lap. We'll keep an eye on him. Remember, we are monitoring the championship battle between him and MDJ. MDJ 25 points behind Rage Hunter coming into this race. But with Rage Hunter being in P11 and MDJ being in P1 at the moment, if they finished like this, then they would be tied in points, assuming that MDJ does not get the fastest lap. Of course, I don't expect Rage Hunter to finish outside of the points today without a catastrophe. He's usually a driver that struggles a little bit in qualifying, but can find himself there at the end.
Very true.
We'll ride on board with Rage Hunter as the Slayer is now retired as well. P12 for the Slayer as Jamie99. Wow, a 5-place grid penalty for a collision with Luke Bailey, so not sure what happened there.
I know. But yeah, Luke Bailey's got end plate damage.
And that is a shame for Luke Bailey. He was on a flying lap. His best lap, a 134.3, and it looked like Rage Hunter actually might have gotten held up a little bit through the S's. I looked away for just a brief moment. It seemed as though whatever car it was trying to get out of the way, but Rage Hunter just catching him at the wrong place, wrong time. All the same, Rage Hunter still pushing on with this lap. Maddie knocking Rage Hunter down to P12 with a 134.945. Maddie just barely missing that P10 mark. So the two Maddies, interestingly enough, look at that, Tom. P10, P11 at the moment. Hopefully nobody splits them. That would be hilarious to see that start.
Oh, Jineji up at the third.
Good lap by Jineji. MDJ Calvin Racing. They're still on their flying laps. We are watching Rage Hunter.
Back on board. Ray exit previous corner. This fast right-hander, you can pretty much take flat out. Then heading into the last two corners. That's where track limits are probably going to be one of the most crucial areas of the track for me.
And you saw Mansell invalidate just a couple of laps ago, so that tells you how finicky they are. But Rage Hunter, yes.
Wow.
Very good.
Very impressive by the championship leader. What a lap.
Yeah, he had to make a liar out of me. I said he struggles a little bit in qualifying. Well, I did say a little bit, so I guess today, struggling in qualifying means a 10th off the pole time.
That's saving the best to last, isn't it?
Well, being a 10th off the pole time is a pretty good problem to have.
Exactly. Better that than being struggling down near the back of the grid. I'll be right back.
All right, and so your official starting lineup for the Speed Force Racing GP2 Series United States Grand Prix: MDJ in first, Rage Hunter in second, Calvin in third, Jineji in fourth, Dye in fifth, Cassidy in sixth, Luke Bailey in seventh, eighth is Mansell, Jamie in ninth, I'm Just in Time in 10th, Siski in 11th, Maddie in 12th, The Slayer in 13th, 14th is Cabrinicon, Sander in 15th, Adams in 16th, 17th KXI, and Martin in the 18th position. Two drivers unfortunately not able to set a lap time here. Have to go from the back to the front, and of course you see Jamie there with a 5-place grid penalty, it appears. Yes, a 5-place grid penalty for Jamie, so that should put him around P14. Taking a look at the comments, Comms team, can you name the two worst teams in F1 history? Well, that depends on what context. I mean, probably not, but I've got my own opinions on the worst F1 teams. Probably unpopular opinions, but all the same. So, of course, just waiting for the drivers now to choose their strategy. And then we will be ready for 28 laps of racing around Circuit of the Americas in Austin, Texas. Virtual Austin, Texas, anyway. Real life Formula One, of course, just this past weekend visiting Austin, Texas. The race won by Max Verstappen, and in doing so was able to clinch the 2022 Constructors standings. And now we have got our co-commentator back, and it's time for our top 3 predictions in any order, Tom.
Ooh, top 3. I think it'll be MDJ, Rage, and for my traditional wild card, I'm going to go Martin.
I'm going to go with what you see is what you get. In any particular order, MDJ, Rage, and Calvin. It just looks like those Haas drivers are very strong, and when you get those two drivers on the grid together, they're usually going to stay together. And MDJ, of course, coming out of the gate with a lot of pace here, knowing that he has still got a very realistic shot at this championship. He's going to be looking to maximize his points total today.
Definitely, mate. Oh, back on the way.
And here are your tire choices. MDJ doing Psychomich things. A few drivers actually in the field doing that, starting on the hard tires. And then Rage Hunter and Calvin on the mediums, going back to P6 Cassidy and Luke Bailey on the hard tires. Then some more mediums. And only one driver on the soft compound tire, that being Cabrinicon in P13. So he apparently thinks that he's going to be able to make up a lot of ground here early on. And, well, you know what? You might as well go ahead and try it. But, Tom, you being a driver, I need to ask you, what pit strategy are you thinking?
It's a brave move, trying to start on the soft, because I think you'd be holding out, doing it just to make up ground and then hold out for a safety car, and then just put on a harder compound, which will get you a decent amount, last you a decent amount of race. But ideally, especially if you're lower down the field, you'd be wanting to go long. So that means hard medium, and in all honesty, the softs not lasting very long, having a poor tire, well, being poor on longevity. I wouldn't avoid them at all costs unless it's a very, very late safety car.
Well, we're going to find out which strategy is the winning strategy. Of course, noticing in the chat, Cabrinicon says rain approximately lap 20. So that could throw a monkey wrench into things. And also noticing Harvey said that we have been pronouncing Jamie's name wrong. So, Harvey, if you could correct me on that, then I will start pronouncing it right. My apologies to Jamie for getting the name wrong.
Apologies about that.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I'm still saying it wrong because I'm not sure how you tried to explain it in the chat. All the same, I'll keep my eye on it.
Alpha Romeo
JAM-E, though. I'm not sure how that's supposed to be pronounced, but I'll keep my eye on the chat as we are about to start the race. MDJ going to be leading them off into turn at number 1, just waiting for these drivers to find their appropriate positions on the grid.
Has to be disqualified. First one to miss his pit stall. No, not pit stall. Starting slot. Martin as well.
And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 red lights in the air. No red lights, and we are green for the Speed Force Racing GP2 Series United States Grand Prix. MDJ, Rage Hunter, Calvin, your top 3 wide into turn number 1.
Oh,
MDJ
three wide
to defend against Rage Hunter going down the middle.
Oh, it's Calvin in the midfield.
He is able to get that car cleared. MDJ in first, Rage Hunter in second, Calvin in third. Much as they qualified, there was some jostling around for position around the 10th place or so. But look at Cabrinicon already in P5.
Great start from the Alpine driver. Great start. I was pointing out earlier. There were quite a few collisions at the start between Janeji, Matty, and someone. Xander's out.
And unfortunately for Xander, that's going to bring out our first safety car on lap 1.
No, it's not a safety car. It's a VSC. Now, anyway, like the safety car could come out at any given moment, so I'm not going to count that out.
So MDJ, Rage Hunter, Calvin Racing still holding on to the top spots, but look at the two Alpine drivers of Siski and Cabrinicon. Cabrinicon, of course, making a lot of spots up. And Tom, you seem to have a nice view on that. So what happened there with Cabrinicon? And actually, it's a virtual safety car. My apologies. So, you know, it's almost like we need to have a text that tells us if it's a virtual safety car or a normal safety car.
No problem. It's all right. What happened is basically, we all saw that it was 3 wide going into 1, and right behind Calvin, Rage, and MDJ, Matty and one of the Aston Martins seemed to I think it was Dye actually that got into strife. That he's come in for a wing change, so he was definitely involved in that incident on lap 1, which I was very surprised at first glance that it wasn't as worse than what it actually was. It was turn 1, lap 1 at Kota is always going to be a mess, no matter what position you're in.
Yeah, and we saw it this past weekend. We saw it just today in Speed Force Racing, and you know it's sort of the nature of that corner, Tom. And it seems to me that you're going uphill. It is a blind corner, and even though it's a wide corner, you know approximately where the apex is, and you know what you're looking for and what the optimal line is. So every driver is going to be fighting for that. But when you got a guy on your inside, you can't.
Very true. It's like you have to time your overtakes perfectly. I think a good time to overtake in turn 1 is when you've got DRS and you've got to run, preferably down the inside, leaving the car you're alongside plenty of space. Not too much, but just about enough, just so you can make the corner without contact.
All right, and something's happened to Cabrinicon now. So what's happened there?
No!
Has he spun? I think so. Does he have some wing damage? Trying to see here.
No damage.
And unfortunate because
Shame
he
for
made
Capricorn because she was going well.
Yeah. So now Siski also actually having some problems. So both Alpine drivers in the pits.
Yikes. No, Siski's just doing just fine actually. Still right behind Calvin at comfortable. Not comfortable margin, but just...
Yeah, now, one thing I am noticing here, though, is top 5, we're starting to get our classic DRS train that, we're going to see in these races here. Rage Hunter, though, he might be able to break away from Calvin, but that's the thing. He probably doesn't necessarily want to. He'd rather keep Calvin alongside him because, theoretically, one of those drivers could get by MDJ, and then if the other is able to follow him, then they could play blocker.
Very good point. Oh, Jamie's just got off.
Rage Hunter.
Rage is down the inside!
He threw a fake maneuver on MDJ to get that position, but MDJ, he wasn't expecting it, but he does a good job of defending, and Rage does get the job done.
Great stuff from Rage. Now.
Oh!
He had a massive tank slapper.
MDJ going back through Rage Hunter now. So Rage Hunter, what's he going to do down the front straightaway? We're going to see some DRS from him here, but will he be able to make that move into turn number 1? He's fairly close, might have an opportunity here, but MDJ gets a fantastic exit. You heard the beep. Rage Hunter will have the DRS as Janechi sets the quickest lap, but Rage Hunter into turn number 1 cannot make the move on MDJ. Has to follow him through, stay in his slipstream, but you know what? We're going to have another DRS zone coming up, Tom.
Oh, we are. Oh, we are. Just getting a good exit out of the S's is going to be so crucial. So crucial because not only you have to bear in mind with track limits, but you don't want to be too cautious because there's a very good chance you could end up losing two or three attempts out of it.
Now, Tom, I do want to ask you, how impressive is it that MDJ is able to, not only hang with Rage Hunter, but also seemingly at times outrun Rage Hunter, considering that he's on the hard compound tire versus Rage Hunter being on the mediums, because you would expect MDJ to struggle at least in the early laps because of that compound difference.
Very. I think MDJ is definitely playing the long game. Whilst in front, whilst it can be a bit of a risk, but if a safety car if a safety car doesn't come out, let's say, lap 16, something like that, then he's going to have the upper hand come the end of the race.
So Rage Hunter a little bit closer this time around. Maybe he'll have an opportunity to get by MDJ into turn number 1. Half a second back, though, probably not, but we'll see what Rage Hunter can make of this run uphill into turn 1. And he had a look, but could not make it come to fruition. And Calvin, you gotta feel bad for him. He's kind of been left in the dust between these two. So Calvin is trying to hold up Siski, but he just cannot stay within DRS range of Rage.
Can't. And he's used up quite a bit of his battery as well. And that's another crucial thing around here. You've got to be so careful. Because of the straights, you have to be so careful of how you're using your battery. Because if you end up using too much of it in a battle, you're going to be in trouble.
And that's a good point, Tom, because you really do need to conserve that throughout the entire race. And that's no different from any other track that we visit.
Oh, Cassidy spun.
Oh, and that's a shame for Cassidy. A winner earlier in the season, but today gonna be struggling to find his way back through the field after spinning and rejoining the race in P12. But going back on the ERS, though, is like you were saying, with these long straightaways, that is a great way to defend against a driver who has got DRS on you. Because if you don't have DRS and the driver behind you does, obviously the driver behind you has a significant speed advantage over you. So there's very little you can do to defend against that move, but that is one thing that you can do, is conserve that battery throughout the race and use it when it matters.
Definitely, mate. I was just watching on board of that battle between... Oh, Jeremy's out. Both McLarens are out. It's been a disastrous weekend for them. Not a weekend, but disastrous night for them.
Unfortunate for Jamie 99 down there, but hopefully next week they will be able to come back a little bit stronger. Now, is this a safety car or is it a VSC? Appears to just be a VSC.
No, it's a safety car.
Oh, there we go. There's the Aston Martin.
Quite a nice looking car to be. Oh, I thought Giannetti was going to hit the wall there. I was on board with him, but yeah, considering this is going to be one of his 2 home Grand Prix, Zach Brown would not be happy.
So, what do you do here, Tom? If you're MDJ up there on the hard tires, if you're Rage Hunter on the medium tires, it's very early in this race, but we were seeing this past weekend that this is generally a 2-stop race. So, with it being very early, are you even going to consider pitting?
Ooh, Cassidy retires, but yeah, honestly, if you're a hard runner, stay out. But if you're a medium runner, it's a hard one. But ultimately it does come down to tyre wear. Like, if you've happened to be overdriving that car, trying to close that gap to the guy ahead of you, then your best option would be to go long and just put slot on the hards.
Well, that's what MDJ did, starting on the hards, and the only driver who really seemed to be able to keep some consistent pace, the Slayer, Luke Bailey, they really have seemed to be struggling a little bit. In fact, we'll go ahead and take a look at the position changes since the start of this race, and you can see there that the Slayer, he has actually gained a little bit, but Luke Bailey has dropped 2 positions, and of course, Die and I'm Just in Time, those drivers dropping a lot as well. But if we look at their tire choices, we can see that Die and I'm Just in Time both just now went on the hard compound, so I believe they started on the mediums. But that's what happens with safety cars, though, isn't it, Tom? Is everything you know about the tires kind of goes out the window because this gives the tires a little bit of a breather, and now they can extend this first stint a little bit longer theoretically.
Definitely, mate.
Now, we did see a few drivers in the back pit for new tires, and of course some of them may have pitted to repair some damage. Of course, we're not sure who all was involved in that wreck, but I believe that all the drivers have made their pit stops now and are just trying to catch the safety car queue, so maybe in the next lap we'll be able to go back racing, theoretically on lap 9 of 28. And remember, we're expecting a little bit of rain potentially around lap 20, so those drivers are going to be preparing for that as well.
Definitely.
Adams, a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings, and it's painful when you pick that up, but when you pick it up under a safety car, because all he's trying to do right now is catch the safety car queue. You can see on your map, there's a very dark blue dot there on the long straightaway. That's Adams just trying to catch the safety car queue, and he misjudged a corner a little bit and went wide.
He also has Martin behind him as well.
What's funny is it seems as though he's the first driver to pick up a time penalty during the race, or at least since these drivers have pitted. There may have been some time penalties served in the pits. But everyone except for KXI has caught the safety car queue, but all the same, I'd say that we're going to have one more safety car lap before we go back green. So that will be on lap 9. KXI, though, does have some time to catch up in the second sector now. Now, one thing that Calvin is going to have to be wary of is there's not going to be DRS at the start of this race, and MDJ seems to get good exits out of that final corner. So if MDJ can get a good restart here, Calvin might really struggle to keep up with MDJ and overtake him. Now, if he can stay within a second, obviously he'll have DRS to his advantage eventually.
Definitely, mate.
But we saw Calvin, he wasn't able to keep up with Rage, who actually did pit for a fresh set of hard tires, so he's going to be restarting this race in the 6th position. But we saw Calvin struggle to keep up with Rage, so we'll see if he's able to keep up with MDJ. KXI still lagging behind the safety car. I'm very surprised to see how far behind he is. I'm wondering if there's a delta that he's having to maintain, and that's what's preventing him from catching it.
Curb as well.
So MDJ, Calvin, and Siski, your top 3. Then the Slayer and Luke Bailey, your top 5. Rage Hunter, Janeji, Mansell, Maddie Adams, your top 10. Then Martin Dye, I'm Just Time, Cabrinicon, and KXI. That is your running order. I'm just hoping to see that message that the safety car is coming in this lap. As KXI has caught the safety car cue, we should be okay. There we go. So going back green, and 20 laps of racing, if my math is correct. So Tom,
yep.
if you're a betting man, who do you got here on this restart? Will Calvin be able to get by MDJ? He's got the medium tires, a little bit softer compound, but 7 laps on all these tires here in the top 5. So everyone's mostly evenly matched. A few hard tires, a few medium tires. Which one will prevail?
Ooh, that is a good question. But I'd say I think mediums of I think this would be a period where the hard starts coming to their own, but I'm thinking MDJ should get the launch, and he does. Calvin's struggling to keep up.
Yeah, and MDJ, like I was saying, he's really good out of that final corner, and I was wondering how he was going to do on this restart, because a lot of drivers have said, especially with new hard tires, but it seems just with hard tires in general, that they struggle to get them up to temperature in the early stages. And look at how close Calvin has closed up to MDJ now. So maybe that's what we're seeing from that AlphaTauri, is that he's just struggling to get the heat in the tires. So he's struggling with a little bit of grip in the early stages, but we do expect him to get quicker, obviously, because those tires are just going to get better for the next couple of laps, while the mediums will slowly start to fall off.
Definitely, mate. Now, question is, if you were Calvin, would you try pushing and give it everything just to get ahead of MDJ in terms of track position, or just simply bide your time?
Well, he's looking on the outside, so I think Calvin has decided that he wants to get by MDJ. But if I were Calvin, honestly, knowing that I'm going to have to pit earlier anyway, if I am confident that I have the pace to get by MDJ regardless, then I would just hang back behind him and stay within his DRS once that's activated, and then use that as a way to try to conserve my tires, not really push MDJ, not push my lap times too far, and just try to stay within his DRS and let him tow me along and conserve my tires a little bit. Now, that's in an ideal world. That doesn't always work out. As you can see, Calvin, in some parts of the track, seems to struggle to keep up with MDJ, and in others, MDJ struggles to stay away from Calvin. So we're really going to see who the quicker driver is once this DRS is activated, and we'll see if Calvin can stick with that AlphaTauri.
Definitely. Although Matt is still holding his own with Calvin, to be fair, so...
Yeah, Calvin
I wouldn't count him out entirely.
Yeah, Siski there in the 3rd position. So looking good today so far in the Alpine. Of course, he qualified, I believe, around the 12th position. In fact, here, let's take a look at the positions. It's almost like I forget that all I have to do is a little bit of math. So he has gained 7 spots in this race. So looking like a good debut from Siski so far in P3. Of course, it's lap 10 of 28. Plenty of things can happen, but still looking like a very fast driver as he is challenging one of the veterans of Calvin Racing, and wasn't close enough to have a look on him this time, but using that slipstream all the same to stay with him. And now he picks up a 3-second time penalty, so unfortunately misjudging the corner.
That could be costly, especially if there's like a late safety car that comes out.
So while Calvin's got his hands...
Oh, KXI's in the wall.
And is that going to be our second safety car? I don't believe so.
No.
It's just a yellow flag in Sector 3 so far.
No, he was just... He went for a spin in the grass. Back on the circuit now.
And DRS enabled. That is exactly what Calvin wanted to see. However, much to his dismay, he has to wait until the 2nd sector to use DRS. But all the same, if he can stick close to MDJ, he will have a shot. And we've noticed that Calvin is a lot stronger in the first sector than MDJ, so maybe this came at just the right time, but he has still got Siski right on his gearbox, putting a lot of pressure.
Oh, yeah, mate. Just in time gets a penalty.
And KXI retired. That is in the pit, so that's not going to be an issue on track. Just a yellow flag in the third sector on the front straightaway, and now Calvin Racing, believe he was... no, actually, 1.3 seconds. I don't think he was close enough for DRS that time, so Siski might have an opportunity to get by Calvin.
Oh, he will. Question is, though, is it going to be worth using all of his battery just to get past?
Well, he goes around the outside, and a big lockup from Calvin sees him defend the position, but only just. That's not going to help your tires, but it does help your track position, and it certainly helps the entertainment value of the race.
Definitely.
And this is the best thing that MDJ could see, is in his mirror, just watching these two drivers.
Oh, Marty spins!
No wing damage, that is crucial. That is crucial, though. No damage. He can at least continue, but what was looking like a podium finish is going to turn into a recovery drive for the Alpine driver.
Yeah, that was a shame. He was going great guns this race as well.
Now Rage Hunter and P4 having a look on the Slayer, having a think about going on the inside, not able to do it. Oh, he changes his mind, goes underneath the Slayer. I think the Slayer might have cut him a little bit of a break, too. Now, Siski, 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane, so I believe we're going to see him retire from this race. So unfortunate for Siski, his debut not going the way that he had hoped. Very fast driver, but he makes a mistake and spins, and unfortunately we'll see him possibly retire. Waiting to see. He's actually put the hard tires on, so maybe the speeding in pit lane was just a mistake, and he is coming back out on track, so he is not retiring.
Ooh. Oh, Rage has got DRS on Calvin.
And he's going to have a look on the outside, and by have a look, I mean Calvin's going to let him go.
I think that's team orders coming into play.
Of course, Rage Hunter, he's got fresher tires than Calvin. I'd say that those medium tires are starting to give the ghost on that Haas car.
Oh, they are. Like, look at the amount of time MDJ has gained on him.
And now
that's very telling.
And now look at the Slayer, who is right on the back of Calvin, and this is a good representation of the difference between the tire compounds. Calvin and the Slayer, they both have 11 laps on their tires, and we've seen how quick Calvin is. He is easily top 3 driver today. The Slayer, I'd say he's easily about a top 5 at least. But we see the Slayer looking like he's actually quicker than Calvin because, as you know, the hard tires just naturally last longer. And I like to explain this in case we have any new viewers that have just happened to stumble upon the stream and they're thinking, well, what the heck is this? Well, this is what it is. Formula 1. Virtual Formula 1. So the Slayer's struggling in the first sector here. We'll see if he's going to be able to have a look on Calvin through the next DRS. But I noticed, though, look at how quick Janeji is coming up on the Slayer now. So the Slayer might actually have to give way to Janeji, who is a man on a mission trying to storm through this field. Rage Hunter, meanwhile, P2 chasing down MDJ. Rage Hunter on the fresher tires. MDJ will still have to make a pit stop. Rage Hunter, not entirely sure. It'd be about 20 laps of racing on those hard tires when it's all said and done. Should theoretically be able to make them last that long, but the question always is, how competitive are you going to be at the end of this race? Of course, if the race goes green for the rest of this time, then I would imagine Rage Hunter stays out on those hard tires. MDJ, though, looking at a bit of a disadvantage here, knowing that he's going to have to put on a medium soon.
Look out. Look at how much time Calvin's losing because he's going wheel to wheel with Janeji. He's lost out P3 to Slayer. Now he's down to 5th.
And I'd say, yeah, it is definitely time for Calvin to pit.
Question is, does he have damage or was it just those? Or was it the mediums?
Well, we'll take a look here, see if there is going to be a front wing change or not. Did not see any damage on the front wing. Of course, there could be some minor damage that we can't see. but all the end plates are intact, and it is just a tire change. So that just goes to show you how quickly those tires wore out.
Very true. Martin's in. He's on softs. Oh, he's got a wing change as well.
Well, remember though, Tom, rain is coming. Rain is coming. So going on those soft tires, maybe Martin's just thinking about trying to make up a little bit of ground.
Yeah, you know what? I think you're onto something, actually.
And, you know, let's go on board with Rage Hunter here. You look to the sky, and those clouds, they are starting to look a little bit ominous.
Oh, they are. Yeah, but they are showing.
So now the question is, though, MDJ and Rage Hunter, you know, which driver is going to be able to hold on to this top spot until the rain comes? Because then they're going to have to pit for the same compound tire at that point anyway. So MDJ just has to survive.
Yeah, look at that battle for P4.
So the Slayer, Luke Bailey, and Mansell, 3 cars fighting it out. The Slayer going a little bit wide there. Luke Bailey hanging on to it in the Aston Martin. Might have an opportunity to get by the Slayer into turn number 1. He will have the DRS on him, but he's got Mansell right on his gearbox. And look at Adams joining the party, too.
Oh, yes. Just on board with that, with Adams. Oh, yeah, great three-way fight. Possibly 4. I think what Sky Adams is looking to do is just wait for one of the 3 to make a mistake, or for 2 of them to get into a collision, and then take advantage.
And that would be a dream come true, I'd say, for Adams. And he's sitting back there on the medium tires, though, so, you know, I do expect him to have a little bit more pace than the drivers behind him. But, you know, these drivers know that rain is coming, so it might also not benefit them to push too hard now.
Very good point. But the problem is for him, he has a penalty.
Oh, and Siski's retired now, so something's happened to Siski.
Oh, it's a safety car as well. But yeah, that's what I was saying. The problem is for Adams, he has a penalty. So he is in no position to go for anything reckless, go for a move on track. Unless someone makes a mistake, giving him, or someone has to come in early for wing damage.
So the second safety car period, I believe, of the day. Lap 15 of 28. Remember, we are still expecting some rain, so just waiting to see when and if that's going to show up. It's starting to look a little bit hazy, actually. Wondering if maybe it's raining on certain parts of the racetrack. We'll see if any drivers decide to pit this time. Of course, it's not raining here in the third sector. We can clearly see that. But some drivers going into the pits, what tire compound did they go on? That is MDJ, though. Regardless, if this race stays dry, MDJ has to meet the 2 compound requirement, but we'll see what compound he goes to. Medium tires for the Alpha Tower. And, I mean, you know, of course, that is to be expected because it's not raining right now. You're not going to see any drivers come in and go onto wet weather tires. But, you know, theoretically speaking, if the rain was, say, a minute away and someone did take that huge gamble, it would pay off tremendously. But you just cannot time the weather that perfectly. Although, I believe it, and you know, Tom, maybe you or maybe Mad G can help me out here. I think that's actually how James Hunt and Hesketh was able to win their very first race, to where it rained.
Yeah. Wow.
And they were able to go on the wet weather tires first. It might have been in Zandvoort, but I'm not sure. That was
Mad G might know, because he's pretty much one of SFR's very own historians, if that makes sense.
Well, the 1976 season was a year or 2 before I was born, so I wasn't around to watch it. But, you know, I mean, they should make a movie about that season. Maybe get Ron Howard to direct it. Chris Hemsworth and Daniel Bruhl, if I'm saying that name right, to star in it. Come on, Tom. Don't leave me in silence here. We're in a safety car.
Yeah, you never know. That wouldn't be a bad shout.
I mean, Ah, yes. Okay, so he does say at Zandvoort it was Hesketh's first win.
Oh, you were right.
I was actually watching a video a few weeks ago. They were talking to Lord Hesketh, and they were interviewing him just about how James Hunt was and what he was like to work with, and just how creating that team came about. And, that really did help jumpstart James Hunt's career because, of course, we all know the history that he eventually was able to get a drive with McLaren and then win the 1976 World Championship. So it's all just history in the making and a big what if they had not decided to make that team.
Very good point. Is there a part of Hesketh that lives on in Formula One, or are they just dead completely?
Now that I'm not sure. We're getting a little too detailed into the Formula One history. I'm not yet that well versed in my knowledge.
I know Tyrrell were there, but they're more. I remember Tyrrell were there for Mercedes, but there's a part of them that's alive because of Mercedes. But
now, Tom, if this was NASCAR, I would be able to tell you this because I'm not sure if you know, but Trackhouse is what's left of DEI, technically.
Oh yeah, that's a very good point. I do miss DEI though.
But unfortunately, I don't have the same knowledge in Formula One, so I can't really tell you if Hesketh is still around in any shape or form. All I know is that Williams and Ferrari, they've been around for quite a while and have won many championships, many races, and they are still on the grid. Of course, Mercedes, they have a lot of history as well. Their more recent history is more well-known, but of course, very well-established brand in time. So, then we got some new teams like Haas, less than a decade old and still fighting for that first podium. And, us Haas fans kind of want that. But maybe one day, I said it last week, maybe one day Haas will be fighting for wins. But speaking of Haas fighting for wins, at least today we got Ray Hunter in the Haas in GP2 fighting for a potential win. He is first ahead of Janeji and then Mansell in P3. Safety car coming in this time.
Yeah, good point. Look at how cloudy it's getting.
Oh, and to answer your question, Tom, Maggie says that there is no Hesketh influence anymore.
Fair enough.
So they are now just a memory, and I guess whatever cars may lie in a museum somewhere. But ready to get back to racing. Lap 17 of 28. We're riding on board with Janeji. Rage Hunter will be the control car. Gets to decide when we go back to green. As long as it's before the start-finish line, and he goes a little bit early there, but it works out for him. Rage Hunter getting a fantastic start. Janeji almost losing it out of the final corner, hangs on to it. Good save by him, but already Rage Hunter over a second ahead of Janeji.
And MDJ's on the back of Mansell already.
MDJ fresh medium tires, trying to get back to the top spot.
Look at this, trying the outside. Is he going to make it stick? Oh, it's nearly 3 wide heading into the S's. Keep it clean, boys. Keep it clean.
On board with MDJ now. Into P3, trying to get into P2 by Janeji, but while he's sitting here behind Janeji, Rage Hunter is building what is now a 2-second gap. And Mansell, something's happening.
Oh, no! Oh, that's gutting for Mansell. He was in a decent position, man.
And MDJ on the back of Janeji. He's going to have a look on the inside. Janeji trying to defend here. I think MDJ is going to be able to outbrake Janeji going into the corner, though. This will be his best opportunity to get by him, and he needs to make quick work of him to get to Rage Hunter. MDJ makes the move. Does he clear him? Only just. MDJ into second place. Janeji losing a little bit of time there, but now Rage Hunter has got to think how long until MDJ catches him.
Because as you pointed out already, there is rain overdue about lap 20, so he needs to be in a decent position come the rain.
But also, MDJ, he is on fresh medium tires, so he's going to be able to run down Rage Hunter. But like you said, with the rain coming, they're going to have to pit anyway. But if the rain showed up right now, it wouldn't do MDJ very many favors. If the rain showed up say 5 laps from now, it might help him out because he'll be a lot closer to Rage Hunter. But we're also toying with the potential of not needing to go to wet weather tires at all, because if the rain comes late enough, then the track might not get wet enough to get to that condition. But we were told around lap 20. It's lap 19 now. We'll see what happens. It is definitely looking very hazy, looking like rain is going to happen. Just waiting to see those first signs of raindrops. So the gap 1.4 seconds now between Rage Hunter and MDJ. In just half a lap, MDJ's gained approximately half a second. So about 3 laps time, he should be right there on the gearbox of Rage Hunter.
True. It's going to be very close. He is getting closer. Fresh mediums compared to hards that are probably in their peak. About nearing the end of their peak. You never know, but
it seems like MDJ gains a lot in the first sector, which is a bit ironic because when he was on the hard tires, he lost a lot in the first sector. But now it seems to be almost flat through the beginning of the third sector. Now you saw he gained a little bit. And he's almost within DRS range and within the perfect time, too, as he sets the fastest lap, because DRS has now been enabled this lap. So if he can get within a second of Rage Hunter, he will have an opportunity to use the DRS to get by him down that very, very long straightaway.
Definitely.
Driving down that straightaway, Tom, you kind of forget where you are sometimes.
Yeah, you do. It's long.
It's like driving down a very long, straight stretch of road, and you just get bored.
Yeah, like driving in a motorway. Or highway, as you call it in the States.
Yeah, thankfully, you'll be proud of me, though, Tom. I knew what you meant when you said motorway.
Legend.
Incidentally, the first time I heard that term in an Elton John song, I did not. I thought he meant racetrack, and I got very excited. But MDJ, he's going to have some DRS on Rage Hunter. Will he be able to make the move? It's a long straightaway. He's got an opportunity to gain some ground here, but Rage Hunter, we were talking about conserving batteries, Tom. I'm theorizing that might have been what Rage Hunter was doing. We've seen him pull that trick before, and, he is no rookie to this. He knows what to do, and we saw that MDJ was closing quick, then all of a sudden he wasn't. That tells me that Rage Hunter's playing with that battery.
Oh, he is? I'm curious, though. How old were you when you heard that Elton John lyric about the motorway?
I think I was in college.
Oh, fair enough.
It was before I met you all, though.
True.
So MDJ going into turn number 1 should be able to have a move on Rage Hunter.
That's very good lap from MDJ, although 4/10 down from his original time, but definitely catching up to the Haas ahead.
Rage Hunter kicked into high gear again, so he was able to successfully defend against MDJ. I thought MDJ was going to be able to get a good run, but not that time. He's going to have to try it again. There is your leader.
Surprisingly, rain has not poured yet.
I'm very surprised at that, too. I'd say these drivers are surprised to see that, because it seemed as though everyone was very much expecting lap 20. Well, it's lap 21, and it's not here yet. Now, sure, the weather predictions are approximate, but with it getting as gray as it was during the safety car, as MDJ goes underneath Rage Hunter, a sitting duck. But with it getting as gray as it was during the safety car, I expected it to be raining by now. MDJ, I'm sure, is glad it wasn't, because he was able to use the DRS to get by Rage Hunter. He moves back into the first position. The dominant car all day. I'd say easily the fastest car here.
Definitely. Yeah, I agree with you. I agree. But the thing is though, I think it was inevitable that MDJ would catch Rage, because he was on faster medium. I think he's got it perfectly spot on setup. He takes it a wee bit wide.
I love this helicopter view, though, Tom. I mean, it's
same.
so beautiful.
Yeah, it is. I think you do get it on often. Get that all the time in NASCAR race. Wow.
Yeah, we do get helicopter views, and I enjoy watching them just because it gives you a nice perspective of what's going on. Still waiting to see if this rain happens, but while we do that, we've watched the battle between
Oh, it's
MDJ
happening.
and Rage Hunter. Oh, is it raining now?
It is! Rage Hunter gets a 3 seconds.
So riding on board now with MDJ, trying to find any... Oh, there are the drops. There are the drops. So approximately lap 20. Well, lap 22 is close enough. Maddie and Mansell going on the intermediates very early here, but that could theoretically play into their hands. Now let's watch Mansell and see how much time he's able to gain. Maddie, ahead of the track, will switch over to him. He's 13 seconds behind the Slayer now. Now let's see how long it takes for that interval to start coming down. Calvin and Janeji jostling around for position. We're going to join that battle here for just a moment. Could be our last DRS battles of this race. Janeji sending it on the inside.
Going for it. Full send. Down the inside, potentially the outside. Calvin not giving up. Very good fight between the two. Yellow flag in Sector 3. Who's that? Luke Bailey. Luke Bailey's gone off. That puts Calvin up into third.
And a bad day for Luke Bailey goes to even worse as he spins in the third sector. Still no drivers pitting for the intermediate tires, so Maddie and Mansell maybe going a lap too early. Adams, though,
Adams is in.
And Martin making a move on Janeji right as DRS was disabled. It helped him get alongside him, and then the DRS was disabled. So a shame for Martin that couldn't have happened. About a second later, he would have been able to get by Janeji, but I think we're going to start seeing some drivers pit this time.
Yeah, true. Oh, Martin's got 3 seconds. Trying to the inside of Janeji. Oh, contact.
Now, these 3 cars going into the pits is going to be a very big cluster. We're going to have to. They're going to have to be very cautious to make sure to not get into the rear of the driver ahead of them, because as we've seen, that will give you a 5-second time penalty. And we got a Ferrari around. Die
again. I think he's liking those in. I think he's.
And Martin having to move on Janeji. On the inside, can't make the move stick. Janeji goes wide, though, and so does the Calvin. Martin gets into P3. And you know what? Janeji and Calvin are on hard tires. Martin is on softs. Could that have actually made the difference through that corner?
True. Yeah, I think it would.
I mean, everyone's struggling for grip at the moment. That's how it is during the rain. But could Martin have had just enough grip to hold on?
Yeah, true. Look at that. Look at this. Janeji's not giving up, though. MDJ is in. Rage Hunter is in. Who's going to come out ahead between Martin and Janeji?
And Martin dives in. Janeji dives
in. Look at that. It's like a race to get in the pits. They're all coming in. Oh, wow. Genuinely, mate, this has been such an unbelievable race.
So now here is your battle for the lead, or lack thereof, because MDJ getting the strategy seemingly perfect in these closing laps. Still plenty of time to go, but seemingly has nailed this strategy perfect. 6 seconds ahead of Rage Hunter.
Look at this! Scar Adams is up on the podium!
Adams in P3, he pitted at exactly the right time, Tom, because he was, around 8th place, I feel like?
Yeah, he was. He jumped the gun on these guys.
Now, there are some time penalties that we have to worry about here, but if you take a look, Rage Hunter, Adams, Janeji, and Martin, they have 3 seconds. I'm just in time with 6 seconds. So, Calvin Racing seems to be pretty far back. I think that Rage Hunter and Adams' podiums are safe if they finish how they run.
True. But we have to bear in mind, I think with Calvin, unless Calvin gets a 3 seconds, then he can easily gain 2 or 3 places at the end of this race. Easily.
Yeah, Calvin easily looking at a top 5 if he's able to mind his P's and Q's and play his cards right here in the final 5 laps of the United States Grand Prix. MDJ has been the dominant car all day long, and in the closing stages it is much of the same, and he is pulling away from Rage Hunter, 6.2 seconds the gap between first and second. But on your screen you are watching the battle for fourth between Janeji and Martin. The Aston Martin of Janeji and then the AlphaTauri of Martin. I know they kind of switched the names around a little bit there, but it's okay because we know who these drivers are.
Yeah, we do.
We need to put Martin in the Aston Martin.
Oh no, Justin Time's gone off. Does he have damage though? No. Lost a couple of places.
So Calvin 2.4 seconds behind Martin and really struggling to close that gap. So at the moment, it's looking like Calvin might not even be able to get that top 5 we were talking about. It seemed like he was almost a shoe-in, and he is starting to gain a little bit, but Calvin overall today has struggled.
6 seconds. True.
Well,
Martin's on 6 seconds now.
So that does put Calvin virtually in the 5th position, I do believe. So Calvin just has to make sure to not pick up a time penalty, and he should at least get a top 5. And as you know, Haas going for that constructor's title, which I don't think they have clinched it mathematically, but it is still a huge margin that they are the obvious favorites for that title if it is not mathematically clinched. Maybe somebody in the chat can help me out there. Hint, Mad G, if you have any insight into it. But I do know that Haas has 291 points to Aston Martin's 157 going into this race. So that's almost a 150-point lead. I think it totals to 130 something, but again, I'm not going to sit here and do the math. Because you don't want me to do math. I failed math in school. I tell you this every week. Tom, are you still with us?
Yeah, I'm here. Just,
okay, don't fall asleep yet. I know it's raining.
Oh no!
Oh, and Adam's getting another
3
time penalty.
seconds. That's going to be costly for the podium unless Janeji gets another penalty. Mind you, because I'm a co-com, I have more than every right to take a look at our trusty race director.
Oh, there you go. So you can tell us who's got the warnings, who's got the penalties, and, well, who just might be sweating it out a little bit.
Right, MGJ only has 1 warning. Rage Hunter obviously has the 3 seconds. Scar Adams, 6 seconds. Janeji, 3 seconds. And 3-second penalty and 2 warnings. So he has to be very careful if he wants to get that podium. Martin, 6 seconds. Calvin, 2 warnings, but so he's also going to have to be on a little bit of a tightrope. Not as bad as those that are already on penalties. And Matty, 3 seconds.
Well, I'll tell you this, though, Tom. Calvin, if he can manage to not pick up a time penalty, he has got a chance at getting a podium here today. At the moment, I think if the race finished right now, Janeji would be in P3, but if Calvin can gain a second or 2, he should be right there in prime position to overtake Janeji after the time penalties.
Very good point.
It's all come down to the wire, lap 26 of 28. And as MDJ crosses the line, lap 27 now. 2 laps to go as Dye spins once again. Just a really bad day for this Ferrari.
Yeah, not been the best of days.
So there's Rage Hunter.
For Dye.
And there's Rage Hunter on your screen.
Ooh, give it a couple spins.
On track.
Oof. Luckily that was ghosted, because that would have been a massive crash.
And that is a shame for Cabrinicon. It's been a constant struggle for that Alpine driver today. But looked like a few drivers were able to gain a place from that. Mansell, Dye, and Luke Bailey, respectively. There goes Cabrinicon into the pits. And no front wing. That's exactly what you would expect the driver to do. Taking a look at Janeji, our possible third-place finisher when it's all said and done. Lap 27 of 28. About to take the final lap here as MDJ is just in the second sector.
That puts him on 9.
So Martin really struggling in the late stages to keep it on track here. Cannot figure out the track limits. Of course, you know, the rain really does add another factor to that, though, doesn't it, Tom? Because it's hard enough to maintain track limits in the dry weather. So when you throw wet weather into the mix, it's so difficult to stay within the lines of the track because you have less grip than you normally do, and your muscle memory has just been changed dramatically. You're so used to getting into a rhythm, you now have to change that rhythm.
Oh, you do.
Lap 27 to 28, and now it is the final lap, and we'll take a look at MDJ as he crosses the line. One more lap to go. He was your pole sitter. He's been the fastest car all day long. I do believe he's got the fastest lap too, and that will pay dividends for him in the championship hunt. He was a race behind Rage Hunter going into the race today. Well, he's going to be just a little bit closer. He probably wishes that his competitor finished a little bit further back than what looks to be P2. All the same, MDJ needing to come into this race and perform well, and if he can just complete this lap, that's exactly what he's done. Hardly stepped a foot wrong all day. Like you said yourself, Tom, one warning. We've seen him charge through the field on medium tires. We've seen him hold off Rage Hunter on hard tires when Rage Hunter's on fresh mediums. No one could touch the AlphaTauri today.
No, you can't. No, they can't. Like, what a drive this has been from MDJ. Started on pole. Shown some phenomenal pace as he normally does, as he always does in this division. Honestly, I think it might be only a matter of time until he's in GP1 time.
And, you know, we could be looking at our champion of the division at the end of the season. Of course, like we were talking about, Rage Hunter and MDJ, it's just going to get more heated from here because both of these drivers know what's at stake. Both of these drivers want to be that GP2 champion when the season ends at Silverstone. But MDJ, just 2 more corners to go. The pole sitter, the fastest car, and now the winner of the United States Grand Prix. Congratulations to MDJ. Rage Hunter, a valiant effort, sees him finish in P2, a good points day, not the best, but what he needs to keep himself in contention in the championship that, well, he finds himself still leading. Sky Adams finishes 3rd on track, but we're going to see a lot of changing for position once these drivers pass. And Janeji goes to 3rd. Calvin misses out.
4th. 4 tenths. Like, wow. That was crazy.
MDJ, Rage Hunter, Janeji, your top 3. We'll talk to these drivers if they want to talk to us. But what an interesting race for the United States Grand Prix. Your officially unofficial results pending any steward inquiries. Of course, once we get our results page up and running, jumping the gun a little bit here today. And your officially unofficial results for the United States Grand Prix. MDJ in 1st, Rage Hunter in 2nd, Janeji in 3rd, Calvin Racing in 4th, Adams in 5th, Maddie in 6th, The Slayer in 7th, Martin in 8th, Dye in 9th, 10th as I'm Just in Time, Luke Bailey in 11th, 12th is Mansell, 13th is Cabriticon, Siski in 14th, KXI in 15th, Cassidy in 16th, Jammy in 17th, and then Sander in the 18th position. And Tom, it almost seems as though the drivers might not be able to do the interviews today. They haven't joined yet.
No, they haven't yet. Bit of a shame. It'd be a bit of a shame we can't get one of them off, because that was, like, we have so much about that race that we could talk about. It was just, it was mental. Like, the battle between being Rage and MDJ, one of the main talking points, but also how unpredictable that finish was. Like, straight onto Winters. Sky Adams could have easily had a podium, but just was unfortunate to get that 6-second penalty. But what a race.
Yeah, and very strong showing from Sky Adams, still finishing in P5. But looks like that's all the time that we have for today. But of course, thank you to everyone who watched, and thank you to all the drivers that raced with us, and congratulations to our podium finishers. And until next time, good morning, good evening, good day, good night, wherever you are in the world. Have fun, and goodbye.